I am in pursuit of making happy childhood memories.
Hello and welcome back to In Pursuit of. Today's guest does something very, very special and close to my heart. Our guest, Swati Roy, is the co-founder and festival director of Bookaroo Children's Literature Festival. Welcome, Swati.
Thank you.
Welcome to our show. So nice to have you here. So I'm going to start with a quick fire round and I will see if you can get 10 on 10. Yes? Okay, so first book you remember loving as a child?
Ashok's Kite.
Okay. Dog-eared pages or pristine covers?
Dog-eared pages.
Most unforgettable moment at a Bookaroo event?
When the first child enters the festival.
Nice.
Festival after festival.
Festival after
Yeah,
festival.
that is one unforgettable moment.
Nice. It's also very exciting, I'm sure, right? Yes. If you could invite one children's author, living or dead, for coffee, who would it be?
Satyajit Ray.
Bookshelves organized by theme, color, or chaos?
Theme.
Okay. A children's book that made you cry in a good way?
Pathir Pachali. Making a mango whistle in English.
Okay. 3 words to describe the magic of storytelling?
Immersive. Mesmerizing. Transformational.
Nice. If Bookaroo had a mascot, what would it be?
It is a monkey.
That's true, actually. You do have a monkey as a mascot. What's your literary guilty pleasure?
Reading Archie comics.
I love them. And unfortunately, you have to feel guilty about it, no?
Slightly. Yeah.
Okay. So, your favorite sound at a book festival?
It's the chatter of children. That's it.
Nice. Very nice. You get a 20 on 10, Swati.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Okay, but now to some more serious questions. So, I want to know, how has Bookaroo evolved the way children engage with literature in India?
You're putting too much pressure on us. We can't talk about India. We can only talk about ourselves, what we have done or seen and experienced. So I would say that, in the initial days when actually Bookaroo started and why we started, that gap between a child just listening to a story or an author in a kind of one-sided way. So there is somebody out there telling something and you're listening. So to my mind, the fact that it has become an exchange, that is the biggest, change that I have seen.
Right.
And how? I mean, yeah, in the first edition also, it was quite a journey it has been. There were situations where somebody, because even authors were kind of, getting used to this idea of an open space and talking to children under a tree and, in kind of in a non, school atmosphere, no barriers, nothing. So, there's the child and the author and the child is walking into the crowd and things like that. So from there till now, so many interactive things have, been, you could say, been created or invented by us. And when I say us, I don't mean as festival curators, us. It's with the authors, with the publishers. We have done things by which the whole purpose has been to engage the child. So to that extent, if you say that we have been able to make a change or seen something evolve, it is the interactivity. It is the empowerment of the child to come ahead and ask a question. And, kind of from a one-sided activity, it has become a two-sided kind of thing.
Nice.
Yeah, I would say that.
Because otherwise it was just being fed down to the children.
Yeah. And no questions asked.
Yes.
There was that other thing.
Right.
I don't know if I can add an anecdote here.
Please do.
In one of the first or the second edition, Bookaroo has always been very inclusive. It's a non-ticketed festival and everybody is welcome. As far as word reaches, people can come. Okay, some sessions are kind of limited numbers, but mostly we are able to accommodate the children that come. Only little condition that we have is that, sessions are curated by age. So we try not to have mismatch of ages. So there was this situation where a speaker was asking questions from the audience, possibly their opinion on something and what do you think it will be. And so she was democratic about it. She would just take the mic around and ask everybody. And 2-3 children probably didn't answer. One didn't notice because not everybody likes answering. Later on, somebody told me from the group that they actually realized that in school they don't make children speak. That was a small group of children who had come from a not so privileged school.
Right.
And they don't have an opportunity to speak. So they actually, after that incident, started a process by which children would ask questions at assembly time.
My goodness.
So they assigned children on, on alternate days or something to come on stage, and when they do their anthem or, their prayers, the child would, kind of release a question into the audience. So I thought that was a very unique experience, Never thought that that is going to be an output of a festival, but it was.
Wow.
So, yeah. Also, the other thing is that in a festival situation, you see, that moment is not going to be recreated. That speaker will not come. So sometimes maybe the child is going back with that little curiosity. I wish I had asked. I think I know a little bit more. That is also another thing we never stop, Some children think that they know a little bit more, and they have to, that's the point at which they have to express and say, I know that, I know why you wrote that.
Yes.
People say, what do you get out of the festival or something? These are all the things happening on the sidelines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Tell me that what role do you think storytelling plays in shaping young readers, values and, empathy per se? Storytelling, to my mind, is also, them being able to articulate.
That's right.
And build something.
Yeah.
And also just reading. And when they read, they also are able to tell stories.
As an organization, I have to say that we don't sort of promote or think of
Sure.
values. If the value comes in or they learn something out of it, that's good enough. But we don't particularly talk about that. Similarly, empathy, while we won't focus on it, but you are absolutely right. These things happen automatically. This is a very organic thing that comes out of a session. If I may first go to the session in the festival, some of these things happen very organically, because a person, when she writes a book or he writes a book, he's writing a book with a certain setting, a certain experience in mind, and then they probably build around it, right? So the stories obviously are from a certain corner of the world, corner of the country, or corner of the city itself, or even corner of the home, who knows.
True.
So the child will find themselves there. And if they don't find themselves there, that storytelling or that rendition is going to suddenly open their minds to that fact. There was a book about a mother's work shoes. Okay, mother's work shoes. Now, why is it so special? I thought, I was just doing some work around that book, and I realized that maybe that child's mother doesn't go to work, child who's reading it. Such a wonderful opportunity for the mother or the guardian or the grandparent to talk about Rahul's mother going to work.
Right.
So, it comes out of the stories. Everything can be, if you use the word empathy, either you find yourself in it or you'll find somebody else. And once you find somebody else, you're opening up the world for the child. So
you're being less judgmental.
Yes. And you're understanding not just judgmental, even to understand another culture, another person's life, their food habits. Won't the world be a better place?
Absolutely. Really, it will be. I have such an interesting incident about this. My son's been reading Mallory Towers and St. Clair's,
yeah.
and somebody mentioned saying that, oh, those are girls' books, and I said, but they aren't. And I asked my son, I said that, is it very girly? He was like, no. And what I find is that they're such beautiful books in the sense of understanding how behavior needs to be with others, and your interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
Mallory Towers and St. Clair's are probably one of the best books to read for that, right? And I've seen such a shift in him because of it. So I think reading does kind of
open up,
bring that, and it's not really gender.
That's what I was
related,
going to say. It's the setting. It's a school setting.
Yes.
And the child, and if you have not put that thought in the child, the difference between girl and boy,
yes,
he or she is definitely going to see empathy or themselves in the situation, and then remember that story. If they were just reading it as a story, and these are relationships. There are all those growing up issues. How to hide your book, how to hide your little food thing at night, and do snacking at night. So many things. And if you don't, I just feel if you don't read, and it doesn't matter where the setting is.
And what happens when children listen to authors telling them these stories? What happens at that point?
See, first of all, there is this, I have to tell you from the base. The first thing is that a lot of times children are amazed by the fact that they're actually seeing an author who has written that book.
Yes.
So whatever little pre-festival promotions or, communication goes out to schools or to parents. So we say so-and-so is coming. So there's this first sense of amazement, is she really going to be there? And then when the session, if I may use the word, starts, and of course they speakers are very well planned and very sort of organized, and they know. And you know what? Because it is not a pre-registered, you don't know who's going to be at the festival. I feel so good that speakers actually look at the audience and then decide how I'm going to do it. While the plan is there, the mota plan is there, but at that point, how they're going to change their communications. And we have very nice, able college volunteers, So the volunteers have already been trained to, there might be a little last minute change, but that moment when they sort of embark on the story, and with some amount of holding the book or doing a little bit of performance, or just giving out blank sheets of paper with pencils, at that point people, no longer, it's not a classroom, it's nothing, it's just that they're totally immersed in that experience. So I don't know, I mean, and can you imagine in a Bookaroo situation, it's from venue to venue to, so you just, when you walk around the venue, you say, Abhi subah to khali tha, there was nothing there. And look at the way these children are all sitting, and as if they knew that what they were coming for, and so engrossed. And 1 hour kahin nahi gaye. They're just, it's busy beyond 1 hour, This is last minute of coloring or last minute. And then going and showing it and saying, is it good or not? And how nice the speakers must also be feeling.
So amazing.
Yeah. So you were saying what happens at that point. One, inside the head, I cannot make out what's happening, but I know they go out little changed,
Really?
Something, because I can see the chatter with the parents or amongst themselves, and then also about the next session, they start talking about it. Where am I going to go next? You do that one, then we'll come and talk about it.
How do you ensure that Bookaroo remains inclusive across languages, regions, and communities?
It's a tall order, yes. I will talk about languages first, So one is, of course, we are a multi-city festival. So when we go to another state or another city, we ensure that about 10 to 12% of the programming is in that city's language, you know. So we find local speakers, we find local storytellers, so that familiarity is also there. And of course, remember one thing, people who are in other cities, they may not get an opportunity to come to Delhi or Bombay or Bangalore. So we have to find, in fact, I remember in one city, someone said, how did you find me? So I said, that's my job. I have to find, if you have written for children, we have to find you. So there is that aspect of when we go to cities. Within our cities where we are, one time we had experimented this with saying that we'll have a language focus. So we did Bengali very well. We did Marathi, okay. We did Malayalam, it didn't work out at all. Then I said, it's a lot of effort, and I could do it only in Delhi. We could not, because Delhi has a larger number of sessions, so one could find a space and find speakers and the number of sessions, etc. I could accommodate that. So that was the language experience. But having said that, there are wonderful books which are being translated. So sometimes words come into the storytelling, cultures come into the storytelling to talk about, I mean, I can go on and on about specific examples, but lots of things like Kollam or, Macher Jhol is talking about a Calcutta situation. So obviously when the story is being told, apart from the fact that there is a tender chain of thought in that story, but the smells and sounds of Calcutta are coming alive. So, somebody sitting in a Baroda, somebody sitting in a Kohima is getting to see that or hear that. And at the same time, there might be a musician from Nagaland who might be in Delhi, and I would be able to do that in Delhi and, bring a little bit of Kohima to Delhi. So that kind of cross-cultural, programs we use in the programming consciously.
Sure.
And also, when we go to those particular cities, we try and involve people, the local community. We also have, like being an NGO, we also find that there are local groups of people who are trying to do things. It could be craft people, or it could be, like music groups, little bands or something. We try and find a way by which it can bond with literature, and we can introduce that into the programming.
Very nice.
That is one of the things. But the good thing is that such lovely books are coming out, such lovely books. We don't have to do anything. Remember, Aparna, we are a bridge only. So there's the creator and there's the reader. We are just helping them come together. Just keep your eyes and ears open and make sure that they reach each other. That's what we do.
You've been doing this for years.
Yeah, 17 years.
Wow. If you could give me maybe an example, because we know this is possible, that children's literature can be used as a tool to address social issues like gender, climate change, or, mental health. Any examples?
No, it is absolutely. And people are writing books with those thoughts in mind, except that they are not preachy books. See, the one great change that has happened in the last few years is that from the time it started, Bookaroo started, I would say that preachiness has gone from books. And most importantly, parents and children recognize it. So, automatically the books that are less preachy and more information, even information driven is fine, or it has been blended well with the story, the narrative, those things are picked up. So, there are beautiful books on gender, right from picture books till, books for young adults, because we cater to 4 to 14. And same with mental health issues and climate.
Right.
So, when when the festival happens, like I said, we curate with the speaker, the writer, the illustrator. So the illustrator might just make a zine. So can you imagine, there is a book, but we are not touching the book directly. We are not picking up a paragraph and reading. We have floated the idea, and now we are saying, you make it. So you are making a zine about a future world where climate change is not an issue. So suddenly you realize how children are thinking, can it be possible? I mean, all the regular daily stuff that is happening. So there's your climate example. For gender, they're just telling somebody to go fit into someone else's shoes and see the world from their eyes. So they're not talking about the book per se, but telling children to imagine, to think. So I think there's a lot of thinking going on. And the beauty of Bookaroo is also that authors are getting feedback, real-time feedback. So they can use that, to create their next creation, or a lot of times we get that feedback, that remember we did that, Swati, this has come out of that.
Right.
So and mental health, my goodness. So last year, what we did, Aparna, for the first time we did sessions for parents in Delhi Bookaroo.
Wow.
So there was this session on climate change is everybody's business, because a lot of times we say, oh, it's a special thing. And also, actually, we had 3 panelists and the kids were there with families, because we wanted to say, how can a family bring about a change? How can a full family be involved in, tackling climate change at their level? So there was that. Then we also had a session on mental health. So we said, is my child okay? So we talked about that. You may find it odd why I'm emphasizing, because we don't involve parents, but for us, child first.
Right.
Bookaroo is all about children first. But I somehow felt parents were asking for it. So we actually had 4 sessions for adults, parents per se. One was the comic conundrum, because a lot of parents don't think much of comics and they think, oh, my child only reads comics. So we had to get graphic novelists to come and say how comics can treat a subject differently, and how your child reading a comic is perfectly fine.
Right.
So there was that, and there was this. And then there was one about how to reach your roots through the language route.
Right.
So these were 4 sessions. But yeah, there are so many books, beautiful. Bijal Bachcharajani is one author who writes on climate. There is, I thought I wouldn't take names because, there are no favorites, but I'm just giving examples. So Pragati Jalan Sureka, there's a lady in Calcutta. She's doing a lot of work on mental health, including a board book. She's just board book on emotions for children. So, start right there, tell parents that, emotions are important to be seen and then, supported.
Right.
And of course, gender, there's several authors who have written about gender. So, and all very nicely blended in the story. So it doesn't seem like you're teaching anything, but it's part of life. And then you go back to the football field and actually say, hey, why are girls not playing with us?
That's right.
So things like that, they just can be handled through books, I think. Yeah.
Nice. So tell me, how do you, what's your take on, at Bookaroo, balancing commercial success with cultural authenticity, in publishing?
Tough question, I know. See, I'll have to tell you right at the beginning that people who get into the world of children's publishing they already know how tough it is. So the thing about, success, they know it's a small world, it's a difficult world, and to be able to call anything a commercial success is very, very tough, So frankly speaking, those who are invested in the idea of bringing out children's books are doing what they want to do. So the authenticity, what you say about cultural authenticity, or I'm assuming that's what you're asking, is quite built into their psyche, I think, when they bring out a book. I mean, there are several series of books that are coming out which are so different from books that were coming out 20, 25 years ago, that, they've worked hard on making it grounded, making it real, making it from different parts of the country. These are not easy ways to make money out of that book, but they're doing it because they believe in that. And I think it's much needed. We, as I said, we are just the facilitator, bringing that book to a child of that region or the child who does not know anything about that region. It works for both. So frankly speaking, I think publishers are being quite honest when they are bringing out the book. So we don't have to do anything. We are only bringing the book to the child.
Thank you, Swati. We'll continue our conversation. And while I continue chatting with Swati Roy, co-founder and festival director of Bookaroo Children's Literature Festival, keep watching In Pursuit of.